everyone. My name is Destiny Perkins. I am your host and panelist moderator this evening. I'm here with two phenomenal panelists. Okay, I'm going to read over their bios and tell you a little bit about them before you meet them. So let's start off. Our first panelist has been protecting the world's most influential people for more than 25 years. He served in the U.S. Marine Corps, during which he was a member of the Elite Embassy Security Battalion, where he provided security and logistical support to U.S. diplomats, including the U.S. President. He also directs teams of experts who manage cases involving mentally ill stalkers, school violence, workspace violence, domestic violence, terrorism, extremist ideologies, and political instability. The AI Advisory Board for Security Industry Association and a board member at the Alliance for Hope International. I'm honored to introduce Brian Niederhelm. Our second panelist we're going over today, 20 plus years of highly diverse background as a successful entrepreneur in marketing strategy and product development. He worked alongside some of the most recognizable brands in sports, entertainment, and businesses such as the LA Clippers and Universal Music Group. Now, as the CEO and founder of Thoroughly Crafted Goods, a men's footwear and lifestyle brand, he has created the corporate footprint that illustrates and values of perseverance, ethics, and commitment that ensures TCG's success as a company. TCG makes thoroughly crafted goods for the thoroughly crafted gentleman. Through TCG, footwear, and the Thorough Man movement, he is helping people walk into a better future and stay on the path of constant self-improvement. I'm also honored to introduce Mr. Kyle Carr. Thank you so much. Well, how do y'all feel today?
Feel good.
Yeah?
Thank you for having us. Yeah, this is awesome.
I'm so excited to be asking you these questions. You know, based off your background, I know you have a lot of experience, and you're here because you want to teach and you want to educate.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're all about tonight.
Absolutely.
So we're going to start off with the first question. Let's talk goals, right? You can't get anywhere in life if you don't have goals. So how important is goal setting in achieving success? And then follow-up question, what strategies can we use to set and achieve these goals strategically?
I think absolutely. I think goals are essential to anything you do. I mean, you just have to, they give you a North Star. They serve two purposes. You get a North Star goal, which is the big picture goal. I want to do this thing. And then you set your checkpoint goals along the way that create a path on how to get there. For example, I want to make it to the NBA. It just doesn't happen, right? You got to put in 1,000 shots every day. You got to work on your left hand. You got to eat right. You got to train right. You got to do all these little goals. Oh, I got to make varsity. Oh, I'm going to get a college scholarship. You got to set these mini goals to get to that main North Star goal. And I think it's important. It just gives you a guide. And usually, if you can find your goals mixed in with your passion, then it's easier to not only see it, but then go after it because it's something that you actually care about too. But they set a North Star for you and they give you guides along the way.
So setting a plan.
Absolutely.
Truly setting a plan. That's very important.
Absolutely.
A mentor of mine recently said, if you're an astronaut, what do you do when you've already gone to the moon? So I think, yes, goals, critical, but create systems because you're going to reach that goal and then it's what do you do now? And so by creating the system that once you go there, then there's other steps and you just keep working and you find purpose in different ways. So yes, goals, very important, critical, especially in sports. And like you said, you got to set small ones to reach the larger goals.
Yeah.
What's a system that helped you achieve a goal in your life that you can just think off the top of your head? Like what's a system maybe for sports, right, in achieving goals?
Okay. For me, I like to create habits because I always say that habits, good or bad, are determine how you win or lose. So if you create good habits, you usually go further, but you also create bad habits. So I try to create habits like waking up at the same time every day, trying to create a routine, something that becomes habitual for you, and it becomes just a part of you, and then you're not thinking about it anymore. So once you're not thinking about it, it might be tough initially, but once you get the flow going and it becomes a habit, it becomes second nature for you. So try to make habits out of things.
I love that. Focus on the habits.
There was a talk by, I can't recall what the military leader was, but it's called Making Your Bed. Watch that amazing wisdom. Just to start your day by accomplishing something small is really important. It's something that I do. And routines, like you said,
I think we're military guys. That's why we said that. So
maybe,
we both serve. So that's a big part of it for sure. Absolutely.
Hello, I'm Monica. Let me welcome you to the 5 Key Fitness Senior Wellness page. We are here to help you on continuing on your wellness journey. If you're an active senior or just getting back started, we are here to help. We help seniors through fitness classes, informational presentations, and information kits. Let's get you started today by clicking on the program that fits you best.
All right, we love that. We love that. Moving on to the next question, we're going to talk about motivation. And I think that does tie into goals. You may have a goal in mind, but what's going to push you, right, to get it accomplished? How does personal motivation and self-discipline contribute to success? And I know you were in the military, so you know a lot about discipline, right? You could teach us a few things here. So yeah, how does personal motivation and discipline contribute to success?
Well, for me, it ties to the goals. I think you have to set values and goals. For me, one of the reasons that I'm here, probably curious, why would a person with my background even be talking right now? Why would I be somebody worth listening to? For me, my goal is to prevent violence. And I believe that sports is one of the main vehicles that can help young people, our youth, to put them on the right path. Or even if they're on the wrong path, bring them to the right path. So for me, I think you have to have something that you're passionate about, because if you don't, you're not going to be motivated to wake up and make your bed first. So I don't know.
I think that's the through line here, is that
Right.
I was going to piggyback that with goals, motivation, discipline. They all go hand in hand. But for me, it always comes back to purpose or passion. If you find that thing, not everybody gets to do it. Sometimes sometimes you just have to pay the bills and do what you got to do. I know this sounds great to say, oh, if you find your passion, but that may not happen. So you may have to do what you have to do in the moment. But you can always work towards these things. But to me, it always goes back to passion and purpose, because like you said, that's what's going to get you up in the morning. Because no matter what you're going to do, if it's worth anything, it's going to be hard. You're going to deal with nonsense. You're going to, there's going to be ups and downs. You're going to go on an emotional roller coaster with it, good, bad, ugly, otherwise. No matter what it is, if it's something you really want to do, it's not going to be easy. So that passion is what's going to make you wake up in the morning. That passion is going to make you become motivated and disciplined and set those goals. That passion, that purpose is going to drive you every single day to persevere through the nonsense or the heartaches and the tough spots, because they will be there. So that to me is like what puts the battery in your back, is that passion and gives you that motivation.
Maybe another way to take this too, because focusing on doing something sometimes is really hard to do. And I've found it really helpful, and I've observed a lot of successful people. That's been one thing that I've had a front row seat in the lives of the greatest athletes in the world, the most successful business people in the world. And one of the things that I realized is that they make fewer errors. So yeah, set goals. You have to have discipline, but have the discipline to not hit the snooze button over and over again. Have discipline to avoid drinking soda. Just avoiding the things to do sometimes is more important than actually what you do.
And it's a journey. It's a constant struggle or a constant process of getting to that point. Because even today, we're talking this, but I still press snooze button sometimes. I don't want to get up every time. I procrastinate on some things I have to do and wait to the last minute. I might have that drink or eat that, pizza or something that I probably shouldn't do. But it's you're not going to be perfect, but it's a constant, it's aspirational, right? You're aspiring, you're striving. So I don't want to sound like it's holier than that, like, you got to do this and do that. But no, because even to this day, every day I wake up and go through that same struggle, and I'm still fighting the same battles everybody else is fighting.
Right, because you're trying.
You're trying. And that's what it is. As long as you're trying, as long as you ain't going for that goal, what else can you really do? You're giving max effort.
Yeah, I like how you also mentioned too, like where you're currently at is maybe not where you want to be, what you're passionate about, but you're going to work toward it, toward your goal. and go through this tough time. I think a lot of people do need to hear that, right? Because sometimes we're like, I'm just going to quit my job right now.
Yeah.
Wait, we didn't have a plan, right? We didn't have a
Nope.
plan and set. So it's, get what you need to get done until the next step, for sure. Well,
Price, that's crazy.
Look, I just talked to you for a little bit, man. Just like, going through chasing big
this. Okay, so the game is, right, we have baseball equipment, right, and we got the store full of drip. So we got 3 minutes to put together an outfit with these being our accessories. So,
I want to also just touch on how you two ended up on this couch today, right? How we're here at the Tilt in LA having this conversation, and that started with networking.
100%.
Right? Networking really is the key to achieving your goals and just meeting the right people that will help build your dream, right? So how does networking and building relationships contribute to success? And what are some tips for effective networking and ultimately relationship building?
I mean, we've all heard the old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I think that's the truest thing on earth. We are literally here from a series of connections and touch points throughout our lives that we otherwise never even met, you know. So first of all, treat everyone well along the way, because you never know, who you're running into or who you know. But James came to an event that I put on because of a friend of mine who's in the organization that we're in together. I joined that. He was in the organization first. I joined the organization through a mutual friend, through connections on business and LinkedIn, because we never really did business together, but we liked each other and we became friends. And it started off as a business association and we became friends, and then he brought me into the organization. I met Brian. Hey, Brian, I'm doing this event. You want to come out? Cool. The other guy, the common friend between James and I, he's a member of the same organization. Hey, I'm doing this event. We're mentoring kids at my son's high school, and I would love for you guys to come out and hear from you. Ben brings James. Me and James connect. Brian and James connect at the event, and we're all sitting here right now because of this, this 1 degree, 2 degrees of separation. So networking is the key to it. I tell everyone I mentor, all the kids we deal with, get a LinkedIn account, and get on there, get serious, start talking to people there, because that's where the business is at. That's where the bosses are at. Instagram and all that's fun. You can make money on there if you're an influencer. I get all that. But the decision makers are on LinkedIn, 100% guaranteed. And you get on there and you start networking. But then when you meet people, leave a good taste in their mouth. Make people want to work with you. A lot of these deals we see that we hear about, these big investments, the ideas aren't that great. I'm investing in you because I like you. I believe in you. You show me who you are. So I would say the networking is probably, if you're going to do an 80-20 split on it, I'll put 80% of it is on network, 20% is on talent and what you got going on, if I had to put a number to it.
A term that I heard that I really like that just captures everything that you just said is huluk. How do you increase your huluk? Where do you place yourself in environments, people that you're hanging out with are going to connect you to other things? You said it all, but I think what also is interesting is, James and I met at the Thoroughman event at St. John Bosco High School. And then from there, James and I connected. We went out to lunch. He showed me this video of Be the Revolution, and we just started talking from there. And then there was a Friendsgiving I went to recently. I met a person there who also runs a charitable organization that supports the same type of things that James is doing. I connected them together. That night we went out also after the Friendsgiving to another thing. I connected them with James as well. So I think what we have to do, there's this quote that's in my mind. I think it's actually one that I heard through Alder, which is, societies grow great when men and women plant trees in whose shade they shall never sit. I don't know what's ever going to come from that connection that I made to James, but that's a tree that I planted. I'm never going to sit in the shade of that tree, but something might come out of that. And I think that's what we have to do. We have to be willing to make those types of, put in that energy and that effort, plant those trees, and just not expect anything in return.
Yeah.
Right, because the person that you meet that one day, you don't know who they're going to be in 5 years. right? They could be the CEO of a new company, and you're like, oh, dang, the way I treated that waiter that one night.
Or they could be the
Ooh,
cousin of.
I don't know, right?
I've had
Relatives.
somebody, you know, you have those conversations like, oh, you know that person? Like, okay. So, you know, even just randomly a relation, you know, they may not be the person, but they may know the person. So even treat people well just because.
Yes.
just off
Be a good
rip.
person.
Just treat people well. But keep all those things in mind, because paying it forward is something you should always do. But then also treating people well along the way, and watch the company you keep, because you become a byproduct of the people you're around. You know?
Yes, completely agree.
This right here my time. 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 My time. My time. This right here my time. This right here my time. This right here my time.
Yes, he agreed. Okay, so we're going to transition a little bit. We're going to move toward taking risks. You know, what does that mean to you, and just that subject alone? So is there a balance between taking risks and playing it safe when it comes to achieving success, right? A lot of people struggle with that. Do I take that chance? You know, do I start this business? I don't know. Or do I kind of wait it out a little bit?
I could talk about risk for many hours. We don't have time, but I think that look, a lot of what we're doing here, we're here for youth. We're here for kids. And if I were to make a recommendation to them about how they can view risk, is think about, is the consequences of this thing that I'm going to be doing, is it reversible? And if it's reversible, then take the risk, especially when you're young. What's stopping you? So often I think there's this roadblock, and it's intimidating, and there's this uncertainty, but in life, we're never going to be able to eliminate all the uncertainty. It's taking whatever uncertainty is there. You can hedge your risks a little bit, but just accept that you're going to a situation's going to have uncertainty, and take the risk. Just do it. I mean, I don't know how else you can motivate yourself. You have to have the goals. You have to have a value system.
There's always going to be risk if it's worth anything.
Even
if you're getting married, that's a risk. You know what I mean? Something as simple as that.
When we were talking earlier, something that we were saying is that I've never looked back on something that was easy and said, I'm so proud of myself. I'm so glad I did that. That was so easy. I'm so glad. It's always the hard things that you look back on after the fact that you're proud of. So do the hard things. If it looks difficult, if something is causing you to hesitate, that means green light, do it.
And I would just even say there's a thing called calculated risk, right? So risk, like I said, it's inevitable. It's going to be there. But say you want to start this new business, and it's a great idea, but the calculation part of it to reduce and mitigate the risk is always going to be there. But you want to reduce the risk and mitigate it a little bit. Do your market research before you make that decision. Do you have a way to pay your bills? Do you have a support system behind you? If you're married, is your wife or your husband going to be down for this? You know, you got to make that decision with that person. So are your finances in order to even make this risk? So and even when if all those things check green and you're like, yes, 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 all good, that risk is still there. You just mitigated it a little bit to where it's not as much of a risk. And everybody here, if you ever gambled, you played, I was going to say Russian, but you played roulette. And when you put the chips on the hardest part of the table, you get the biggest reward, right? You can make the easy bets and just double up every now and then on black and red, but you put the risk out there on the table, you get a bigger reward for that because you're taking the risk. But you can make those risks very calculated. So don't be afraid of it, because whatever you're going to have to do, whatever you want to do in life, there's going to be a risk. Going to school, getting married, having kids, every one of those decisions is a risk involved in that somewhere. So don't be afraid of it, embrace it, and try to figure out a way to, by those things we talked about, is my network in place? Do I have the infrastructure behind me? Okay. Are my goals aligned with this, you know, or the people around me? And you really just start having those decisions, those conversations with yourself. And should this business even exist? Do I need to make another, you know, tripod company? You know what I'm saying? Like, is there a need for that? Or how can I make this better? So you really come up with those concepts and those ideas to mitigate it. And I think risk is okay when you look at it that way. Don't just jumping off a cliff hoping somebody, you know, comes and saves you, you know. But
I don't know if the audience will know who Warren Buffett is, but one of the richest people in the world. When he talks about taking on risk, he almost talks about it as though he doesn't take on risk because he hedges it. And so there's a lot, through all the things that you just said, Kyle, there are lots of ways that if you take a risk that you can analyze it, you can take calculated risks, but if you're going to accomplish anything in life, you have to take risks.
You will.
So
And make sacrifices. I say sacrifices go along with that too. You know, sometimes I think, and you starting a business, some of these people, you might be sacrificing your health to get this business going because you're eating Popeyes every day instead of, you know, you're eating the dollar menu, you know, because you're eating ramen, you're eating all that unhealthy shit because you need this money. You got to save it. You're risking relationships with friends. You're risking your significant other, you know, because if you're starting a business, I'm speaking from an entrepreneur's perspective, that business becomes your main chick. Your girl becomes your side chick. And just from my perspective, and you got to really think about that. Is she going to be down for that? This may ruin that relationship. If you have kids, you may spend more time getting this money and chasing this dream, and your kids may resent it for you. These are all the things you have to take into consideration, as those are risks you're going to take. Your health, your finances. You may go broke doing this. You may have to pay, 90, 60 days late on some credit cards, max them all out to get this going. You know, it's because it's not going to, nobody's just going to give you money. You have to take these risks. And it's usually worth it in the end if you see it all the way through. And that's usually the only thing that separates people is who sees it all the way through.
Yeah, sacrifice
some people
is the
quit.
price of admission for anything.
Anything.
Windy City Revolution team wanted to take a moment to express our heartfelt appreciation for the incredible partnership with We Fam United for the Be the Revolution weekend. Your collaboration has undoubtedly made a significant impact on the community and is a major reason why this event will be a success for the fourth time. We seek to partner with nonprofits who really get in the trenches and create real change. Commitment and teamwork and the shared values of making a difference have been evident in every project and initiative we have undertaken together. Your partnership is truly something to be celebrated and appreciated. Warmest regards, Windy City Revolution.
So with risks, sometimes comes failure. That's life, right? We have to live and we have to learn. So how does failure contribute to eventual success? What is it behind failure that, I know we're scared of it, right? We don't want to fail, but what about it actually contributes towards success?
I think failure is, like I said before, it's inevitable. You're going to make errors. Take basketball for an example. The greatest basketball players, they still miss shots all the time. Right? So what makes them great is that they make fewer errors or fewer failures than other people. But they're still shooting, even though they know that there's a chance they won't make the shot. So I think you just have to have that attitude. And like with anything, it doesn't come naturally sometimes because it's disguised as uncertainty and you're going to hesitate. But you have to take that risk and just do it.
I mean, I look at failure. I mean, like you said, it's inevitable. It's a natural part of everything. But I don't see it as that. I see it as, honestly, to me, they're the best lessons. The best lessons in everything. You go to school for something, they'll teach you the theory on it. But you get out here and you do one of these deals and you lose 20 G's, you lose 50 G's, something like that, you're like, okay, I know how to do this, I know how to fix this. And it hurts for a minute, it's gonna hurt, but you learned a lesson that you couldn't have learned anywhere else. It's a valuable lesson. But so if you take a failure as an opportunity for growth or knowledge, then it wasn't really failure. It was a lesson, right? It wasn't a bad thing. It was a good thing when you zoom out on the map and you can see the whole play. It's like, oh, that really wasn't a bad thing because it got me here. Maybe even starting a business that failed, and because you even had that business, it failed because it's not around anymore, but you met people and made relationships through that business that led to something bigger, or you connected people who did something great. So is it a failure? Time will tell. Maybe in the moment and in that perspective, it seems like that, but zoom out and look at the timeline and its length, and it may not be a bad thing. What did Kendrick say? Set back for a major comeback, you know what I mean? Or Michael Jordan said, I've never lost a game, I just ran out of time. I was like, that's dope. Like, I ain't never lost. I just ran out of time. You gave me another minute, I was gonna bust your ass, you know? So, but I'll get you on the next one. Or I learned from this and I'm gonna take it out on the next guy. I'm getting 50 on this dude, you know? So I just think it's all about just shifting your mindset. It's not even, I mean, just really the way you look at things, like, oh, failure? No, not a bad thing, a lesson, okay. Now that you see it that way, you won't be depressed, you won't be hurt, and you'll probably be able to take steps to correct it and do better next time, which will get you probably to where you want to be eventually.
Failures are lessons. Okay, I hope you all took note of that. We want to reiterate that. Failures are lessons, and it's just rerouting you to the right person, you know, the right place you need to be at. It's just putting you in the right position. So how does a supportive environment, because I know you talked about that, right? Having support behind you when you're starting anything new or having new goals, how does that contribute towards success, and what can individuals do to support a creative network?
I'll think even use a military analogy. You know, people think the military is everybody's coming in, bang, bang, shoot them up. But most people are in a support role. Most people are making sure you're fed, right? Other people making sure your family's paid. You got all the equipment, so you know you're not stressing about family back home. They're good. The medical people are there. The armory people are there. The drivers, the helicopters. Everybody's doing their job to support you to do what you do. It's like the foundation to a building. If you don't have it, you're going to be out here on your own. And that's, even I told Brian earlier, when we, in this organization this professional network that we're in, this organization, I really wanted to join because I knew I was going to be around like-minded people who have goals and purpose and want to change the world and make it a better place. I was out here on my own doing this like a chicken with my head cut off, just like, I want to help here, I want to help here. My heart's in the right place, but am I having the impact? You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not having the impact. So connect with people like Brian, people like James, and we bring our forces together, and now we have a powerful unit that can actually accomplish something and make a mark and leave impact. So I think the military is a great analogy for that.
Are you looking for a fun and engaging way for your child to learn baseball? Look no further than the Windy City Revolution BTR Youth Baseball Camp. This camp has a proven track record of success, with expert instruction and a focus on skill development. Your child will have a blast while learning from the best in the game.
We all need a support system, just in life, right? But especially when you're trying something new.
You have to be not scared to ask for help is a really important thing.
Yeah.
Especially when you're young, you don't want to reach out. You don't want to ask people for help. And so I think that's a really important thing. You're not going to have the support system you need unless you take those risks, unless you reach out, you ask for it.
That risk of rejection.
Yeah.
It's a risk.
So we're going to wrap up with our last question.
Okay.
Why is continuous learning important? Why do we have to be a lifelong learner?
Right now, this is, for me, one of the most important things, not just because it's always been important. Yes, you're not going to get anywhere in life if you don't learn and you don't grow, but right now, information is doubling every 9 months, and it's decaying also, the relevance of it, at something like 30% a year or something like that. So if you do the math, in 5 years, the knowledge that we have, the expertise that we're developing, whether it's in business or if it's in the field like that I work in, investigations, it's going to be irrelevant. So it's so important that you're constantly learning, now more than ever. And sports is no different. There's
new training techniques.
Yeah. But Michael Phelps, he uses is that the swimmer, the gold medalist, right? Multiple gold medalists. He sleeps in an altitude-controlled sleep chamber, right? Like, if anyone else is not doing that, all of his competitors, they're at a disadvantage.
Yep.
So there's always new things coming along, and we have to be learning. We have to be growing, or else we're going to become irrelevant.
Yeah, in this world of technology, like you said, if you don't know AI, if you don't know blockchain, if you don't understand AR, and you're in business and you don't have these things in your mind and you're not understanding them, then somebody's going to replace you. You know, I don't think AI is going to replace you. Somebody who knows how to use AI is going to replace you, right? So you just constantly be learning in this space, technology, of ideas, of culture, of business. It's just constant, man. Once you stop learning, you might as well go away to an island somewhere, for real, because you're going to be obsolete faster and faster, you know?
And we have a lot of free resources nowadays.
Yeah.
YouTube University.
If you got a phone,
Google.
if you got a smartphone, you can learn anything at this point.
ChatGPT.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't have to go to a library anymore. You used to have to get into a car.
You ain't gotta go to
drive
Harvard
there.
anymore.
You have to pull out. You have to search. You have to find numbers on the bookshelves. Go down, flip through, find the page that you want. Nowadays,
Type it in.
Chat GPT, Google, like the answers are there. If you know what to look for and you're curious,
Can learn anything.
and you are also skeptical a little bit. Don't just believe what you hear or don't just believe what you see. Look for counter arguments. Play devil's advocate, but the information is there now. And you can learn and grow faster than at any other time in human history if you want to.
I know I said last question ago, but we do have one more question. I have to ask you because this is a controversial topic because success looks different to everybody, right? Do you think there's a definitive definition for success, or is it subjective?
I think it's totally subjective.
Oh, yeah.
It's just what your personal. I mean, some people, somebody's look at success is to have the big house and the car. They want the material thing. Some people say, I want to make sure I put 100 kids in college. Somebody says, I want to be the best, even if I want to be the best janitor and move up to management, that's all I want to do. And that's fine. You don't always have to be the dude with the bottle and the brick and making all the money and doing, like, that's not for everybody.
Right.
If everybody's a boss, then nobody's a boss, right? So that's not everybody's goal is to be the CEO or to be a founder of some billion-dollar company. It sounds great. There's a lot of things that go with that. Sometimes it sounds better to those people that have a 9 to 5 where at 5 o'clock I can go home at night, and I have to think about this all day. So success is totally subjective. It's about that passion, what we talked about in the beginning, and what your goal is. Success can be, what they say, shoot for the moon and shoot for the sun and land on the moon. I mean, if you aim, and if you aim at that goal and you accomplish all these other goals along the way, and you don't quite make it there, you've had a bunch of successes along the way. It's all about how you shift your mindset and how you look at things. You could be negative or pessimistic and down on yourself. Or you could say, you know what, you could find gratitude and positive in all these things that are happening to you. And those things are wins. Those things are wins. If my kids are happy, like no matter what I do, my thing is if my kids are happy and they grow up to be great people, I won. Your legacy in life is 2 things, only 2 legacies you can leave. What you do and what your kids do. That's it. Those are your 2 legacies in life, what you do and what your kids do. So.
I think you have to define it broadly.
Okay.
That would be my suggestion to any young men and women out there is to don't pigeonhole yourself and define success in a really finite way.
Yeah, that'll eat you up.
It will, it will, and it will limit what your opportunities are if you define it in too much of a constrained way. So you have to, like for me, if I'm better than I was yesterday,
that's it.
That's success.
That's it.
You heard it here first, folks. Okay, success is subjective. And thank you so much for being an amazing panel.
I hope it was helpful.
I hope y'all learned something, right? Our amazing audience, I hope you took notes. Where can they contact you and where can they find you via social?
You can hit me on LinkedIn, my name, Kyle E. Cox, C-O-X, or on Instagram, all social media, TCG Los Angeles.
Perfect.
I purposely don't have a lot of ways for people to...
Your job.
He's like, write a letter. Write a letter, please. Send a pigeon.
The firm that I work for, Gavin Becker and Associates, we're doing a school safety conference where, that's our mission is protecting people. If you're interested in this type of work, you can type in the name of the company and you'll find it there.
Well, there you go.
Secret squirrel, man. Y'all not gonna be able to find him. He got to protect
Chase
people.
him down. Well, thank you so much, and thank you so much to LA and everybody that was involved to make this happen. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
See ya.
Yeah. They didn't believe. Thank you. They didn't believe. Thank you. They didn't believe. Thank you. They didn't believe. And now they see. They didn't believe.
But we wanted people who are influential in their realm, right? So like Travis, obviously, sneakers and music. Like if you're 19 and younger, or maybe even 21 or younger, like Travis is your guy. Like, that's what they know.
Trav.